key, so I'm putting it in.
Great. Good. And so, we'll go just under an hour.
Yes.
Right, the way we do. So, and we'll want to stop before the thing goes off. Then we'll do that too.
Okay.
Because I'll be watching the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's 2 clocks right there.
Right. But this is the one. Well, actually, this is the one that is a little bit easier. But anyway.
I'm on Facebook.
Yeah, we're going to have fun on Facebook.
She's not a fan of banging the camera.
Oh.
When we were
thank you for coming, then.
When we were doing the video with the signs, she was like hiding her face behind the paper.
Oh, how did that turn out, the whole thing?
Oh, I have it. I'll send it to you.
Send it to us. Yeah, send it to us. I like to see it.
Mm-hmm. You have the special one where you're like putting it like
Well, it started on the bottom.
Yeah.
Did you start at the
No,
ground?
I didn't get that part. I just got the part where you were like raising it to the sky.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Facebook said they're ready when we're ready.
Great. Okay. So is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're ready. Oops. Yep, we're ready.
So step 1 is to flip the silver switch.
Yep,
Light is on.
it is.
Put the clapper in front of your face. When you hit the clapper, you're on the air.
I also
Welcome to Talking Peace with the Western New York Peace Center, being recorded here at Think Twice Radio in the home of the future, which is also the home of our friend and producer, Richard Wicca. Thanks, Richard. So we're very grateful to Richard, and we're very grateful to WBNY, our friends at Buff State. WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative radio station at 91.3 FM. Thank you to our friends at Buff State. And being thankful also reminds me of our Haudenosaunee friends who also remind us to just recognize and appreciate the people who make a gathering possible, and to recognize and appreciate Mother Earth and all of the creatures, the swimming, four-legged and flying creatures, and all of the different plants, the medicinal plants and the food plants that feed us, the wonderful trees that are so important to creation and that we love and appreciate, and our creation and act as we are originally instructed so that life can continue on this creation. So I would say Nyahweh, and then you can say
no. The people say no. Yeah, no.
The people say no.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I remember.
Very good. And so we're very glad to have back friend of the show, Samerian Mbili. Samaria.
It's glad to be here.
Oh, it's so good to have you here. Our show, this show is going to be about Peace Action student groups, and especially in particular, Peace Action Canisius College. So, yay, Peace Action. And I did not yet introduce, I did say Samaria. We also have Sharon. Sharon Smith is with us. Thank you for coming, Sharon.
You're welcome.
So Sharon is the event organizer for Peace Action Canisius College.
Yes.
And Samaria is the student
organizer.
organizer for Peace Action Canisius College. So why don't we start with... well, before we get into all of that, just with our values, thank you for reminding me that we're going to do that. So if we think about our values, why don't I ask Sharon, if you think about a value that in either in connection with Peace Action or in connection with this conversation, a value you want us to just think of and remember.
Oh, okay. Value probably be like equality, love, just...
Oh, yes.
I feel like everybody just should be treated equal. You don't have to agree with their opinion or their statement, just live, like, in peace.
Right.
So I think that's a very big value for me.
So true. That is so crucial, and that's so much a part of what we're talking about. Absolutely.
Equality.
Thank you. Equality and that respect for people.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Samaria?
A value that I would like to uphold is acceptance for everybody, people that we don't necessarily identify with or agree with. A value of diplomacy, of negotiation, communication.
Yes.
And another one is just courage, standing up for the things that you believe in, even though people might not agree with you.
Right. That courage of standing up for your beliefs.
Yeah.
So important. So important. So I will just, I usually say truth and love, and I certainly have to say truth and love, but I also want to remember, we were just talking about Dr. West and Dr. Cornel West, beloved, one of the primary public philosophers in this society right now. And one of the things he says is what we really need, the crucial things that we need are moral integrity and universal solidarity. So I think that's it's very related to truth and love. It's also very related to, what you both said is in terms of equality and respect and that acceptance, and also about the way we function, both within the group and in the group's work. So let's talk about the group or groups or group of groups. So we can start off with talking about PeaceAction a little bit. Now, I would just say the Western New York Peace Center is also, as you know, is a PeaceAction group. So
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, what would either or both of you like to say about PeaceAction and how do you see it? What is it really?
Okay, well, so PeaceAction is actually a student chapter at Canisius, and it's a non-for-profit organization, but they have a student chapter for schools or college universities that students can learn to be peace activists. Because when I first became a student organizer, I didn't really know I had to grow into this role. So it's not something that came naturally to me. It's something that I'm still learning how to do. But basically, you just spread social justice issues on campus, and that's basically what you're trying to do. And we've been hosting a couple different things to try to do that.
Well, I'm smiling because I want to say it's something that I'm still learning how to do too. Because we're never done learning. First of all, in general, and certainly on something like how to organize, and also it's always changing. Yeah. That's another thing. So we're just always learning. And PeaceAction, I'm so grateful for PeaceAction and for the Canisius group as well. So PeaceAction, as I said, the Western New York Peace Center is a PeaceAction group because PeaceAction itself was created out of other peace groups. And one of the biggest influences on PeaceAction was coming out of the anti-nuclear.
That's how it started.
Yes, right. And it's how it's continuing because we're still very, very big.
It's one of the core issues.
Yes, and it's an existential issue. So we can worry, and we need to worry a lot about climate catastrophe and everything, but also, if we have nuclear winter before that, then that'll be irrelevant, right? Because that could do it even faster. Nuclear accidents or nuclear activity.
Yeah.
And so PeaceAction, is such a strong history and legacy. Excuse me. That it offers, but it also, besides offering that to so many groups, we have PeaceAction New York State, which itself has, I think there are 9 groups altogether, something like that are the other groups. A lot of them are in New York City. We do have our Western New York Peace Center. There's one in Rochester. There's a group in Syracuse. There's a group in Binghamton, and there's a group in Albany. So those are sort of the upstate groups. And then there's a cluster of downstate, Westchester as well as in New York City.
Yeah.
But the student groups, meanwhile, there's more than a dozen student groups, even more student groups than other groups.
Yeah, I don't know any of the other groups like around Western New York.
Do you know the
I know Niagara University.
Good.
Matt McKenzie.
Right.
He runs the one at Niagara University, and I've got to speak with him. He actually runs the Mentee Mentor program for Peace Action, which is just like a program where it connects you with alumni of Peace Action who've been student organizers, and you get to talk with them, and they become your mentor, and they'll basically like lead you along the way while you're going into this role as a peace activist.
So now, what would you say? So, what are some of the requirements for? Well, first of all, can I say that for Western New York, those are the student groups. I think I'm not sure whether, I think there's one in Geneseo also.
Yes,
which
Geneseo,
I guess
yeah.
Geneseo is really considered Western New York, isn't it?
What Geneseo?
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
It's sort of in the middle between Western and Central New York. It's a little bit in the middle, but I think it's a little bit closer to us. But anyway, so as the student organizer for PeaceAction Canisius College, what do you do? What are your requirements?
Well, my main requirement is making sure that there's people that's in the fight with me. Like, it's not just me, like, saying I'm a student organizer.
Right, sure.
So it's basically connecting with the student population at Canisius.
Right.
And just bringing them to join the fight, bringing them along to, help organize, like, Sharon, she's been the event coordinator, so she's been helping me plan the events, because I can't do everything by myself. I'm only one person.
Of course.
So it's, reaching out to the student population, seeing who's interested in being an activist, and bringing them along the journey.
Right. Right. It is quite a journey. So now I know for example, and this is being broadcast by our friends, as you heard me saying, Buff State, our friends at Buff State, and SUNY Buff State, it did have a group called Buff State Students for Peace. At one time, but that was quite a while ago. Now, since then, I know there are other student groups, but none as yet, right, currently, are Peace Action groups. So that's why we're thinking that, either especially at Buff State, or, certainly other colleges, Medaille College could have one. There was some activity over there that seemed it might go in that direction, then it didn't work out. And also it takes that consistency that you were talking about, because it has to be, students graduate, right? So then if you've got somebody and you've got a whole set of people and they're all working together, and then all of a sudden they all graduate, then
there's nobody.
Yeah.
It just dies.
Right. So that's part of it, is succession planning, which is the same for other groups too. As people get older, or you want to keep moving and keep adding and keep fresh.
So it's not just in the school.
It's not just, but it's especially true in the school, because at least people, if we're talking about they're getting older or I hate to say, dying off or something like that. No, I can say that.
Going into a different life.
Crossing over to the other side, something like that. It doesn't happen all at once, but with students, when you graduate, especially because people are usually I won't say, that you're always in your same class, but you'll tend to be with people that you're with, so it would tend, so it's a particularly hard thing about the student groups to keep it going over the years when people keep graduating out.
Yeah.
So one of the things that student groups, first of all, student organizer gets paid. What is it?
$500 a semester.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so if you decide to become a student organizer, you'll get a stipend of $1,000 for the whole fall semester and spring semester.
Right.
That's if you don't decide to partner up with somebody. So if you partner up with somebody, then it's like in my opinion,
50-50.
It's 50-50, but like I think it's still like I would rather have it that way. I did have somebody that I was partnering up with, but she's no longer at Canisius anymore, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out that way. But so the other thing now, so people have, is it a weekly check-in call?
Yes, Margaret, she's the student campaign coordinator, and she'll do weekly check-in calls to see, like, have you planned your general body meeting? What's on the agenda? What's coming up next? What are you thinking about your webinar? Because webinars are actually a requirement as well, hosting a webinar.
Well, is it a webinar or is it just an event? Or does it just happen to be?
It can be an event.
It could just be either.
Yeah,
It can be
either
or both.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. It doesn't have to be a webinar. Yeah, you're right.
But you have to have 2 events per semester at least. 2
Yeah,
events.
at least. I mean, because it would make sense to have at least 2 events. Because
Sure.
what else would you be doing if you just had one? I mean, you could put all your energy into one event.
Right.
But I think it's more effective if you have like a couple different events.
Sure. Well, I think you've had a couple of different. But anyway, we'll get into what you've been doing. But I just want to say, then the other thing is a monthly call with all of the student organizers. Right?
Yes, then we have a monthly call with all the different student organizers, and it's not just from Western New York. It's from Geneseo. There's a school called New School, U Albany.
Oh, that's a very great school.
Oh yeah, I haven't
school.
heard.
New School,
New
yeah.
School. Is it in Brook?
I think it's in, I don't know whether, it's in New York City is what I'd say. I don't know more than that. I mean, we could check it, but not right now.
Okay, yeah. U Albany, Niagara University. There's a couple more. I can't.
SUNY Binghamton.
Binghamton, yeah.
Yeah,
I believe
University at
they're,
They do.
Yeah, they do. They do it too.
Yeah, they do.
And sometimes they're not always consistent because, like you said before, there is problems with finding a successor or somebody to take up the position. So sometimes they go, sometimes they come.
Right. So yeah, that's why I said, like, we started in Madai, even at Buff State, we started to have one, and then that person transferred. So and at Madai, so it didn't, you have to have the person, have the follow through, and then also that they do that succession planning of, like, you make sure that if you are going to graduate or even transfer or whatever, or just stop doing it, that there's somebody
ahead.
already.
Yeah.
But so let's talk about some of the events you've done, because first of all, we know about some of them.
Yeah,
It's
one of the
interesting.
events was
They're
here.
about new. Yeah, so Sharon, what would you tell about some of the events?
So I actually only went to one event that we had because I had to do something when we had to do a webinar.
Right.
And it was it last week?
Yeah, it was
last
last week.
just
It was
last
last
week.
week.
Yeah.
It was a documentary about where was it again?
It was in Old Main to
No, not Derek from the place. Documentary.
Oh,
were in
New
India.
Delhi in New
India.
Delhi.
Yeah.
About
India.
tampons and pads.
Period poverty.
Yes, and how
Right.
they didn't have it, and now in the video they started making their own and selling it to people in the area for less money than they would from somewhere else.
Right. And also for safety. For
Yes.
safety. Because women, if they didn't have clean, nice pads to use, they were just using a piece of cloth or something like that. And plus, the embarrassment and the social thing, especially in India, where, it's not like it's a very extremely progressive general society. I mean, there's been some improvements, but there's a lot of poverty, and then there's a lot of very, what do I want to say? Women, women are, it's funny that women's rights in different societies are really, threatened, even in the U.S., where women's rights, you would think we're all set, but we still, and especially, and women who have some intersectional issues of being, if, like black women or, well, I'd say BIPOC women, don't make as much as white women make, who don't make as much as white men make. So there's all of that still here. So what to speak in other countries? So things like women's, sanitary pads and things, women are not given the support. So that was great. Actually, I was there. It was great it was really eye-opening to me, and it was very inspiring to see the wonder of these women getting this, organizing it, and then taking their life, their business and their life into their hands to help their sisters, their sisters.
Because a lot of them weren't able to go to school because they would have to take a week off of school just because they had their menstrual cycle.
Right.
And you imagine missing like a week of school at college, you would fail.
Right.
So, and there's still like period poverty even in the United States as well.
Right. Yes.
People still can't afford sanitary pads, so it's a big issue.
Actually, I know people in the local Black Lives Matter chapter were, having sanitary pad drives for women in homeless shelters.
Yeah. And Canisius in public health committees, they started having like buckets of like tampons and pads, and they put it in every woman's bathroom on the campus.
Great.
So people will be able to use it when they don't have the money.
That's what they do at campus, yeah. And Olivia Miller, she was the previous student organizer at Canisius. She was in charge of the Women and Gender Studies, and she would do a tampon drive and pad drive. She would knock on the dorms of everybody's dorms, of the girls' dorm rooms, and she would ask, like, can you please, like, give us tampons? We're going to give them away to people who need it.
Right.
So that's something that, like, PeaceAction used to do. We might consider doing it in the future.
Well, it was great to see that movie, and I want to say I was very impressed that there were 2 young men in the group also who were brave enough
Sharon
to be.
and Jabari.
Yes, they were very brave to be in the group.
I feel like men should know, though.
They should know.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that was one of the wonderful things in the movie, too, and that was it came out in the movie. That men should know and that women shouldn't have to be embarrassed or ashamed. It's very normal, and it's not some voodoo kind of,
taboo.
Yeah, it's how do we have babies? This is all about the same whole process. It's part of a part of that whole process.
Yeah.
So that was one event, and there was a previous event that you had actually on Talking Peace.
Yeah.
That you organized.
We had
with Urge, with Immigrant and Refugee Justice, but you certainly did wasn't Urge part of it?
Urge, no. I'm thinking of where we had Dr. Butera.
That's
Dr.
what I'm talking about too.
Oh, Urge.
That's Nicole's group, the Immigrant and Refugee Justice Task Force.
It was called
because I didn't call it Task Force. That's
the task force wasn't there. I was like, wait, what's Urge?
No, it was the Urge Task Force, Immigrant and Refugee Justice. That's the shorthand version.
Okay.
I'm calling it Urge.
Urge.
Yeah.
Okay.
IRJ.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah,
okay,
now she gets it. Yeah.
I was like, Urge, what is that?
Well, I usually call it out because otherwise the people may not know what it is unless they're part of it or they're more familiar with it. But you did a beautiful job with it. It was Dr.
Nicole
Zahir
and Sarah
Wahab.
really, they are the ones that like helped us put it together, and you were the one who like got us organized because we were slacking. So Vicki was the one. Vicki was the one to make sure that we were on top of everything because we were missing a couple things when we were planning, but Vicki reminded us.
No, it was just because you're doing it within this. I'm familiar with this, Talking Peace and this being in the studio or doing it on Zoom or whatever it was. So, but you did a beautiful job, and we had Dr. Zahir Wahab, we had your professor, Dr.
Butera.
Yeah, Dr. Butera, and we had Sasan Taba.
Yes.
Also, yep.
Who I thought was my dentist, but was not my dentist.
No, but she had a lot to contribute too. So we're just talking about women's roles, just what we were talking about.
Exactly.
Women's roles in the Middle East and Central Asia. So which is India would be included, and actually in this case it was Afghanistan, and Dr. Zahir Wahab talking about as a man talking about the women's situation in Afghanistan.
Right.
So anyway,
And touching
that was
a little bit about on globalization and
Right.
U.S. imperialism.
right. So let us talk about some of your upcoming events. What are you planning?
Another webinar.
Oh, good. Yes.
Called The Myths and Misconceptions of an Angry Black Woman.
Wait, say it again.
The Myths and Misconceptions
Oh.
of an Angry Black Woman.
Wow, great. That sounds great. I can hardly wait.
It's going to be interesting. We're still doing like some research, and we have our panelists ready.
Oh, good.
But we're actually considering, it was planned for April 13th. But we might be considering pushing it back a little bit. We're not sure yet. But for right now, it's April 13th.
Okay, are your panelists firm?
Yes, they're firm. I'm communicating with them.
So do you want to announce who they are?
Yeah. Dr. Havis, or I think
Havis Walton.
Havis
Devanya.
Walton. Devanya, yeah.
Dr.
She
Devanya.
is in the
Havis
philosophy department at Canisius, and she wrote an article called "Now How You Sound." It's a philosophical praxis. I got to read some of it, but it's basically talking about how it's changing, like the way people are doing philosophy and incorporating the Black woman identity into philosophy. So that's an article that she wrote that she probably will touch on when she does come for the webinar.
Wonderful.
And we're gonna have Fatima Rodriguez Johnson. She's actually my one of my friend's mom. She's the director of diversity and inclusion at Canisius.
Oh,
so
good.
she'll be there as well.
Great. Great. Well, it sounds wonderful. Now, do you want people from the community there, or is it more
Yeah,
just
it's a
for
webinar.
the students? Or?
It's a webinar, so
Okay, right.
anyone can join the Zoom.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, if you send it to us at the Western New York Peace Center, we'll be sure to spread it, and share, how people can register,
Right.
where they can get the link and everything.
Great, yeah, because when we do question and answers, I want everyone to have a question to ask. So
Well, certainly Dr. Havis Walton has so much wisdom to share.
Yeah.
And she's a very powerful speaker. I've heard her before and learned from her before, and just been grateful to connect with her anytime at all. So it would be wonderful to hear her, and also it sounds like the topic also is very key.
yeah.
So, it's talk about myths and misconception, and talk about racism, because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and luckily now we're at a point where, I don't think our problems are anywhere near solved at all.
No.
But at least people are talking about
Yeah.
the conversation. The public conversation has changed.
Yeah.
Thank God. Or thank so much heartache that has come, so that it has finally had to be. So through first with Michael Brown, and then more recently with Black Lives Matter, with there have been so many incident after incident that has brought it more and more
To light.
to light. So there's all of that, as well as influences like Dr. West has always been Dr. Cornel West, but also the work, so much work by so many really knowledgeable people. One of them being Dr. Havis Walton, who did an East Side immersion project, for example. Did you ever hear about that?
No, I'm gonna have
ask
to
her
bring
about
that up.
You're going to have to ask her about that.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. I never got to go on it, but I would
East Side
love
Immersion
to go.
Progress. Is that like a tour of?
Well, it wasn't a tour, but it was an it's of the nature of that, but not of the type of that.
Oh, okay.
So it was it was an immersion project. So she would be the one to tell you. I've just heard her talk about it, but I haven't experienced it myself, and I won't
Give it away.
I won't give it away, especially because I might misstate some parts of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's certainly something I would want to know more about, and maybe even if they can resume it, or But anyway, and also different. So there's so much that. Oh, I was just going to say Nicole Hannah Jones, and she wrote the 16. She originated the 1619 project.
I've never heard of that.
Oh.
Heard of it?
I think I did. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yes, because they had it at University of Buffalo. And,
yes. Did you go when she
I
came?
wasn't able to go, but at Canisius we had a podcast and pizza party
Oh,
where
good.
we watched
Podcast.
some of the podcasts because some of the people from our diversity committee, which I am on,
Right.
went and watched her speak.
Right. So actually, we did a talking
I've
piece
never heard of
on.
her.
Well, you're in for a treat because what she did was 1619 was when the first slave ships bringing enslaved Africans over came and brought them. And so she started it from there, and then she talked about how the economic engine for this country was the unpaid
Slave labor.
labor of enslaved Africans, right? And what a difference it made for, it was the made Cotton King, it made, and so talks about that, and then other kinds of misconceptions. So that's the 1619 project. And we did a show on that, and we did a show on critical race theory, too. So that's another thing. That, again, those are two different things. But all of these things are getting people to talk about it. Now, of course, there are some white supremacists and people, very misguided people, who are trying to stop people from talking about it. And they're actually trying to legislate that and ban books and do all kinds of crazy things that would be about trying to go backwards when we still have very much work to do to go forwards.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Dr. Havis Walton's work, and that article or your webinar are going to be some of that chipping away, of that educating people and, or validating people as the case may be, right?
Yeah, just bringing what they have to say to light,
Right.
and touching up on some of the misconceptions about Black women. We wanted to try to do the webinar during Women's History Month, but we said it's okay. We can still this doesn't have to be limited to just a month.
Exactly.
Well, we were just talking about Poetry Month, and Jillian said, every month is Poetry Month for me. Well, and so many of us, every month is African, is Black History Month. Every month, women's issues, women's history, and women's needs.
Yeah.
So many of us are attending to all those things, every month of the year.
Right.
It's not limited.
So I guess April's supposed to be Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So yeah.
Well, that's another
there's
month.
There's always something.
But it's also Poetry Month.
Oh, it's also Poetry Month.
Yeah,
see?
you didn't know that.
No.
Yeah, no, it's Poetry Month too. Yep,
See?
it is. It is that. And it's probably some other months too. If we look it up, I have a website. I'm not going to share it right now. But there's a lot of days and months and special times. But it's always a good time to talk about things that are important. So anyway, speaking of things that are important, I know you have another thing planned, another event that I think is very important too.
Yes.
And it's this month.
Yes.
Right.
Earth Day. What?
Yeah.
We're going to do Earth Day and the day after Earth Day.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we're going to do 2 days
Oh,
because
good.
there's a lot of trash to pick up.
Right. So it's on now. What day is Earth Day this year? It's
The 22nd.
the 22nd, Friday the 22nd, right?
Yeah.
And so then that will be one day, and then the following day, the Saturday. Is that the way you're
a Saturday.
doing it? Yeah.
We're
also
going
the
to be
Saturday.
collabing with USA Sustainability
Oh, good.
because it's better to collab with other people to get a better turnout.
Oh, yeah,
So-
absolutely. Well, collaborate with us, too,
Yes,
right? I
of
thought you were
course. Yeah, we're not
collaborating
going to
with us.
forget about you.
Don't forget
We
us,
need
no.
all the help we can get
Yes.
to come out. And
Yes.
So we're going to be ordering litter sticks. We have trash cans or trash bags and gloves. And also Jabari, one of his family members just opened up a juicery.
Oh,
So we're
great.
going to be buying some juices from them
Oh, good.
and giving them out while we're
So
picking up.
that's how you're going to get
That's how
people
we're going to
there,
get.
huh?
That's
There you
our
go.
incentive.
Good, good. Well, I have plenty of incentive because I can tell you, picking up litter in the park has been something that I have spent a whole lifetime doing. I wrote a letter to the editor as an 8-year-old about picking up litter, about the litter that people leaving around.
As an 8-year-old, wow.
Yeah, and they said only 8 years old, but she's concerned to keep Austin pretty.
Aww.
So yeah, yeah.
Started since 8 years old.
Yeah, well, I just don't like seeing litter in the, the nature is so beautiful. We can't just trash it.
Like what you
know.
just said about Haudenosaunee. Look what we're doing to the Haudenosaunee land.
Right.
Yeah.
So now
Mother Earth.
where is it going to be, the pickup? It's Canisius campus?
Yeah, Canisius campus, because
Right.
we don't have the vehicles
No.
to go somewhere else. Even though there's like a lot of other areas in Buffalo we
Well,
could
sure.
go.
But
But they was thinking of doing like the area too, not just campus, but
Sure.
like the areas around
Right.
campus.
But starting, it just makes sense when they say charity begins at home. It doesn't mean don't be charitable otherwise. But if you haven't taken care of your own responsibilities, then you don't go out looking for more
Exactly.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you would start with Canisius campus. Right. So we would be happy. And I know I love to see that and, promote it and help out and
Yeah.
bring a. So are you providing reachers for people?
Yes, we'll we just appealed for more money at
So
the
you
school.
can reach some reachers?
So we can buy some more litter
Reachers.
sticks.
Yeah, litter sticks. Yeah. So don't get me started talking about those. I
Yeah.
just got one.
Oh, you just got one? Yeah, if you have some extra, please bring
No,
them
I don't have
along.
extra. No, I only have one. I might bring my own. Bring your own litter stick.
Richard, you can. Oh, Richard's not here.
No. Well, we'll tell Richard he can bring his own too.
Okay.
Yeah. No, so it's definitely sounds like it'll be good, and even without the juicer, but with the juice, it will be
Yeah.
even better, even better,
With or without the juices.
right? Well, so why don't you? I'd love to hear a little bit more about yourselves. Sort of, what are you studying? What are you hoping to do? Where are you at with all of it? So, yeah. What would,
I guess okay.
Oh,
here, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
you go.
So
Yep.
a little bit about myself.
Yes.
So I am a freshman at Canisius.
Oh,
I
boy.
Just changed my major. I am a psych major, but I'm going the pre-med route.
Oh, wow.
I want to be an anesthesiologist.
Oh, boy.
Yes. a doctor.
Anesthesiologist. Is that a doc? That is a doctor?
Yes. Anesthesiologist is the people that put you to sleep when you have to go to surgery.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Oh yeah, I heard that's hard.
Right. Well, you're just making me think of my friends in Cuba, because in Cuba they have a free medical school. They will, if people who are free, they will, but you have to live there. You have to learn Spanish, but they will give people a scholarship for medical school if they're part of an underprivileged community and they agree to serve their community when they finish. Right? So they don't want more doctors for themselves. They want, and they've been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for this work, because they have, for their medical school, they have scholarships for people to come and learn, and they learn how to be a doctor in your most unconducive of situations. So first of all, because they have this terrible blockade that we have put on them ever since the revolution. So that means since the 50s, there's been, this blockade, and they're so near us. And we're so large, and we won't allow even any of our other trading partners to trade with them. So they're very impoverished for that reason in Cuba. And yet they manage to do beautiful work, really wonderful work for the community and for the world, where they've sent teams of doctors around to help in trouble spots, including with the COVID. Wow. And so they have this free medical program. So it doesn't, it may not be what you want to do, but it may be something that you want to look into.
Yeah, I know when we went to the last Peace Coffee House, they, I forget her name, but she was telling me that they travel to Cuba each year. Right. And I mean, maybe that's something you might want to think about.
Well, that would be something to check out, too. So the going to Cuba, that's something. So the medical school is another thing. And yet, it is a thing that if you go on that trip, which I did go in 2019.
Oh, it wasn't too far.
If you go on that trip, then you will hear plenty about this medical school. And then you will go there. The ELAM, they call it, ELAM. It's, anyway, I won't get into but it's, you would go there, you'd meet some of the medical students that have been going on this scholarship program and get a little better idea of whether you want to do that. And that might be something that you want to see about doing. Now, the thing is, it's not a free trip. So you need to do the fundraising or have the money either way. And this trip is going to be in the second half of July, right? Late, mid to late July. And then you have to get yourself to Miami, and then from there, they get you over there. Oh, and one other thing about it is it is civil disobedience, because Cuba is the one country, I was just saying how the U.S. has just had this vendetta against, So it also includes that Cuba is the only country in the world that a U.S. citizen has to get a license from our government to go there. You're not allowed to go there without getting this license. So what they do in solidarity is all the people who go on this trip refuse to get the license and go to Cuba without a license.
Why don't they just get a visa instead?
Well, the license takes the place of the visa. So that's what the government is not asking you to get a visa. The visa would, if you wanted to get a visa, it would be from Cuba. Right? That's the way a visa works. Oh, okay. Is the country that you're going to.
Oh, but you have to get the license from America.
As an American, you have to get a license from the U.S. government to say that we know you're going, we know why you're going, it's not some illicit, criminal enterprise or something. But it's just a hurdle to try and get people not to go, right? Because they're back to, just putting the screws to Cuba as usual. So, I'm going to say that, we came back and there was not a murmur. There was not a problem. In fact, I wanted to go through with a person, but it made me go through when I re-entered the United States. I re-entered, and they had me do it on a computer at the airport. So it never asked me a question that made it a problem, or it wasn't a problem. I never got the license. But so then in that trip, first of all, we met with the president there. And then
who was the president at the time?
The president is Miguel. Miguel Canel something. Just Google it.
Google it. Miguel something.
Miguel Canel. Canel.
We'll Google it.
Yeah, we'll Google it.
Yeah.
But he was wonderful.
Wow,
He was
you got to
very
meet the friend.
humble.
That's so
He
cool.
was so gracious. And somebody was asking him basically what he had to teach the world, what Cuba has to teach the world. And he said, I hope that they will learn from our mistakes. Which is a beautiful, we were just talking about, if only politicians had some humility. So there is a man with some humility.
Yeah.
So I loved Cuba. I loved going there. It was a great, great trip, but it is not a vacation. Because everybody wants to see you and they want to thank you. They want to love on you. And then they want to tell you how mad they are and get you to come back and make a lot of noise about how the blockade has to end and the penalizing of Cuba has to end.
Right.
Right? So then to show you how much of hardship they have because of it. So that's really what they do. But anyway, I just couldn't help mentioning it with your interest in medical, the medical field. So it's something to think about. And so now what about you? What are you planning and thinking?
I'm a junior and I'm studying international relations and political science.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm thinking about going into law school after I graduate and becoming an immigration lawyer.
Oh,
but
boy.
I've recently read the book, The Falling of Somoza, and it's about foreign officers and ambassadors, and I was like, well, maybe I want to join the foreign services instead. So I'm kind of like
the State Department.
Yeah, the State Department. So I'm kind of teetering between those.
Well,
two
we
options.
need to talk some more because I actually went to the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy.
Oh.
Yeah, and I would have some caution. I would have some caution about the program you pick or the way you go. So, I think we need to emphasize diplomacy, but do we? So what? I'll just talk about our friend Ann Wright was in the State Department, and she was, and she quit actually in the run up to the war in Iraq. She quit because it
She
just
didn't
got
agree
too.
with it?
Because she had disagreed with different things, and she'd also been in the military and everything else. But so one of the things is just, there's no. I'm going to say, there's lots of different professions that will have some different items to navigate. Like how do you really do, stay true to your values and your beliefs and still do what they're asking you to do. Yeah. So some jobs that's harder and some it's easier and some it's really impossible. So that's all I'd say is just to think about it in that kind of way. So it doesn't mean don't do it.
Yeah.
But it's something to talk about and think about. But and what are some of your hopes also for peace action and just for progress in our community?
So for peace action, for school, just to get it more known, to hear other people's opinions, because like you said, it starts small, but
Right.
the smaller it gets, the bigger it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
And that's how you make change.
It's that getting some what do they call it? Some mass really.
Yeah.
Getting some people the solidarity.
Yeah.
The solidarity.
Yeah.
So spreading the word.
Yeah, because I didn't even know about that we had a peace action group.
Really?
Until,
Okay.
I seen a flyer about it. And one of my friends, Javion, he is in it. So, I didn't even know about it. So, I feel like a lot of people in Canisius might not know about it either.
Oh, okay.
So, getting the word out, and then that probably will make it much more bigger. People will want to,
Sure. So having some of these events, that's one of the ways.
Yeah, and I know Sharon, she mentioned that maybe we should do a fun event so that people would they'll come and to be a part of Peace Action, and they'll say, oh, this is a fun club, we should start coming to more events. So she was like, oh, maybe next time we shouldn't do a documentary, but maybe like a socializing event where we're watching like a fun, interesting movie. So maybe we're just still trying to figure out ways where we can like make it informative and also like have a good time at the same time.
Well, I have an idea for you because it's Poetry Month, and we just had a thing on poetry.
Yeah.
So I can't help saying, what if you had a poetry thing that's a peace action poetry night?
That would be a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Like those poetry slams type of thing.
Yeah. Like little claps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know Jabari, he writes, I don't know, I think he writes music.
Or so you could just have an arts night,
Exactly. I was a theater major before I went to performing arts since
Really?
seventh grade. So
Really?
I used to write monologues.
Oh, boy.
And so for senior year, because it's COVID, Black Lives Matter was very important that I wrote a monologue about Black Lives Matter.
Really?
Yes.
Well, so you could do just some kind of an arts evening like that, and you could
Yes.
share that monologue. You could have some other thing. You have Jabari do some music. Sign me up.
Yeah,
like to
you just
come.
talk about singing.
Oh, well, I don't know. You don't want to get me.
No, you should sing.
Well, only if you're really desperate. But I can. What I'm going to do is back people up if you want it, because I'm always thinking about a jam session. Jam session is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, that would be cool if we did like a poetry night.
Right. Right.
But going back to your question,
Yes.
what hope do I have for Peace Action and our community? So for Peace Action, what I really want to see happen to it is that what Sharon said, I want to see it grow, even though it's still a small school or a small club, and it's always been a small club. I would like for it to stay on campus and be like one of those permanent clubs, like Afro American or Lossoff. I would like to see it be one of those permanent clubs on campus. And my hope for the community is there's a lot of things that I hope for, but I really hope that what we've all been saying is this solidarity, that we can all unite our struggles.
Yes.
And just stand together for the common good.
Yes. Yes.
And then we can let go of our ego and just be like brother and sister, because we all truly are brother and sister.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. One human family. And also in the whole creation.
Yeah.
There's a human family, but it's the whole, we're just one part of the creation. So, actually it's in the indigenous culture of, considering the other, it's grandmother moon, brother sun, it's all the creatures, are also part of our family, of this creation.
Right. That's so true.
Yeah. So we can enjoy and appreciate and try to live as originally instructed.
It's originally instructed, yeah. Just how we started off.
Yes. So what would you like to, how can people get more involved, or, what are some final words you like to share?
Okay, so how people can get involved, they can either go on the Peace Action New York State website. There's a website where you can go on to learn more information about the organization. And if you decided to, if you want, I think there's like a bar up there where you can open up your own student chapter. So you can just click on that, or you could, take down Emily's contact information or Margaret's contact information and email them, say that you're interested in starting up a new student chapter. But I would really like to see Madai and Buff State start this, because then we could do events together, collab.
And actually, I would say they can also contact us at the Western New York Peace Center. So 716-332-3904.
And you guys have a website.
Or even, we have a website. Go to WNYPC.org and contact any one of us, and especially me. I mean, you're welcome to contact me. So either by email, by, and of course everybody uses Facebook. So by Facebook or anything.
Instagram.
Instagram.
Oh, we have an Instagram too. You guys have an Instagram.
We do. We do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll have to post our video on Instagram. I'll do it tonight.
Do it.
Yeah.
So, and any final thoughts from you, Sharon? What do you want to? What would you like to see people do?
I just get out there. Don't use your voice, because your voice is very powerful. Like
Right.
you're seeing with Black Lives Matter movement, it's very powerful. You have a voice. We have freedom of speech. Use it.
Right. Thank you. Actually, we were just talking about that too. Lift every voice. This is what Cornell always said. It says, lift your voice. Don't be an echo. Not just saying what other people said. It's lift every voice.
Right.
So thank you for that. That is a big thing for people to remember and do. And youth should not be, we need all of us. You said you're learning. I'm still learning. We all have plenty to learn, and we all have plenty to learn from each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why we need more communication and transparency.
Yes, yes. Well, I so appreciate both of you. So appreciate you coming
Appreciate
in.
you having us.
Your
I love
time.
coming here.
Oh, well, we love to be with you, to learn from you, to share with you. It's just really, really wonderful.
It is.
And very inspiring and very encouraging about what we have, to look forward to. Because I think the young people today are really taking things seriously, because it is serious business.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we still also have to have fun. You were right about that part, too.
Yeah, you can't forget about that.
So it's about balancing all of that. So I think you do a really good job of that, and you did it when we were just together at your last event.
Yeah, the general body meeting.
It was fun. It was informative. It was helpful, and it was building solidarity and building the beloved community.
Right.
It was really, really good.
Mhm. And we got to meet Margaret and Emily. I never got to see them in person.
Yes, it was great.
So that was amazing.
That was great. Yeah, it was great to be with all of you. And, we have so much work to do together, but, it's encouraging to see that people are really, what I'd say when we see all the crises around us, crisis equal to opportunity. So, that the Chinese character for crisis is the same as the character for opportunity.
Wow.
So it is, that we have crises, different crises, but we also do have a big opportunity at this point to really change the way people are doing things.
Exactly.
Yeah, do them, for people and the planet, right? And Black Lives Matter, and for
climate crisis.
Right. Just
And
doing-
indigenous rights.
Right, and just caring for each other, and being the change. How about that?
Yeah.
Being the change that we want to see.
Exactly.
So that's what I see you two doing. So
Thank you.
Absolutely. So you be sure to share the final details, like for the litter pickups,
Okay.
like when you're starting and where you're starting, where people should meet you, all of that.
Okay.
Share it with us, or if it's a flyer, or whatever's the easiest way for you to share it.
Okay, we will. We will try
So-
to keep in touch and keep you
And your
updated.
webinar, everything.
Okay.
Okay, well, we so appreciate, I'm so grateful to you both for all that work
Grateful
you're
to
doing,
you.
for coming in, for being on the show. And so I would just say, Yahweh.
Neil.
Neil.
No, thank you. Okay, so this is Talking Peace, and together we have been talking peace in truth and love. Thank you so much.
And I
We
had
did
my
it.
pen here. I don't know if anyone if they got to see.
We'll see if it's stopped now. It's probably still going on Facebook though.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah, here.
pen that
Here, let me
they
see if
gave
that
us.
No,
No, they can't
it's too-
see it. A little bit.
See it a little bit. Here. PeaceAction.
Do you still have
New York
your
State.
pen?
Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't bring
I
it.
didn't bring it. No, I didn't bring it. That was a good idea bringing it. No, that was very good. That was very, very good. And I could really talk to you some more about Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it. Is it in
You
Buffalo?
never heard of it? It's part of Tufts University. Did you never hear of Tufts?
No.
Yeah, Tufts is, it's pretty well known. I don't know if it's at one of the Ivy League schools or not. It's up in Medford near Boston. But the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy is a what do I want to say, recruiting ground for the State Department and the CIA. Yeah.
Oh.
So that should tell you something. So let me tell you,
I haven't had too many
it
good.
didn't tell me enough. I went ahead and I went there anyway. In my not knowing what I was going on, and what I didn't know is that we can take these off now too. We can turn off the
Oh, it sounds so different now that they're not on it.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my head. Oh gee.
Two shows back to back. I don't know how you do it. Vicki.
Now let us.
I didn't want to be
That's where I was headed. Thinking about
so much fun.
How do I?
Because like my sister-in-law is.
I didn't know you wanted to be an anesthesiologist, a psychologist, anesthesiologist.
Okay, I ended the live video.
Oh.
Good. Because I could say all of that on TV. I've said plenty. Actually, one of our guests who is a lawyer, a young lawyer, she said to me after being on the show, she said, "You'll say anything, won't you?"
She said that. Oh, a young. Wait, was it Talia?
No, it wasn't. You know who it was? It was Samantha White. She's an attorney. She's the head of the Minority Bar Association. But she said, "You'll say anything, won't you?" I thought,
Maybe I shouldn't say everything.
Maybe I shouldn't say everything I'm
But no,
saying.
yeah, we learned a lot about the
want to
CIA and
oh,
history.
but what?
I said we learned a little bit about the CIA operations and history.
When did you learn
I watched it
about
on
that?
TV.
In my class.
Oh.
You know.
Well, anyway, I want to say that Fletcher was very conservative.